A performer is one of the most important instruments that we have to really do business and especially commercial real estate investing to understand what the numbers actually are telling us. And so many people get this wrong every single day, which costs them tons of money, or they lose out on good opportunities thinking it's a bad deal. I'm going to break down for you after doing $1.6 billion transactions over the past few years of my team that I run, how to read a performer, what to look for, what not to look for, what to expect on 7 main points. And also, what makes an income statement different from a pro forma. This will be the most in-depth video you need. Super simple on a whiteboard you can do today. Make the next day you invest in hopefully a home run for you. Now, what I want to look at first is what? What is the pro forma in the first place? A pro forma is super simple. It is projections. A pro forma is just saying, I'm looking at what is this asset, this business going to do for me in the future using assumptions. And assumptions is coming up soon. That one is super important because you can see the same exact asset or business and get totally different numbers based on who you speak to. So important to understand what it is in the first place. Now, again, performers and income statements is these projections, income statements, and balance sheets and financial reports. That is what already happened. That is the past. Now, a whole video breaking down underwriting up above, like from A to Z for you, but this is more high level. Because we're looking at all projections and income statements, you want to invest today on, obviously, income statements. But you also want to make sure the why is in place. Why do we do pro formas in the first place? To see the upside. That is the main goal of looking at a pro forma. I want to see the upside. And then looking at it in an income statement, I want to see what's happening right now. Because let's face it, the reason why we invest in assets that people are selling is for a couple of reasons. One, you want to have massive cash flow, which is why you're going to do it. You want to grow your money and make it work for you. Two, you're banking on appreciation, hoping that it increases in value in the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years to make a good exit strategy for yourself and for your team of investors. And then the third one is taxes. Obviously, if you're doing real business, probably won't be the same exact strategy for you, but commercial real estate investing, I'm looking at it for a tax standpoint. So my upside is what I'm looking for there. So far we've broken down what is, why is, pro forma versus statements, super simple. Pro forma is later, and statement is now. That's the easiest way to look at it. The easiest way that my income statements, my balance sheets, this is what I'm looking at today, whereas my pro forma is going to be what's going to happen in the future based on assumptions, based on increasing rents, based on increasing, my better OPEX, decreasing CAPEX. All these different strategies makes a big difference when it comes to investing inside of a commercial asset. Now, looking at the breakdown of it though, this is where it gets super nuanced. Because inside of, any business, especially real estate, I'm looking at a couple of features. One is gross profit. Number one, what is the gross profit of this asset? Like today, I've looked at probably about $100 million worth of business or real estate deals this morning alone. And right now it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm looking at what is gross profit. I'm looking at expenses. And expenses is going to be OPEX, CAPEX, insurance, taxes, all those things are expenses. and marketing as well. So if you're running a business, same kind of thought process. This is why I love commercial real estate so much, because business and commercial real estate are almost the same exact thing. And honestly, as a commercial broker, I'm pretty much selling businesses as well with every transaction I'm doing. So you have to understand this as well for yourself. Now, if this seems overwhelming so far, you want more help, more support, I have your back. Down below, link in the description, have a call from me directly. If I cannot save you at least 5 to 6 figures in your next investment, I won't get paid. I work for free for you. And so far, all my clients have saved at least minimum 5 figures for help, upwards to close to $1 million with our support. And we do all this for you. We do the underwriting, the projections, the sourcing. We look at the deals for you, walk through the grounds with you, and make sure to get investment for you and your investments. That way you have a really good upside. You can mitigate your risk. Now, of course, no obligation. Won't put it out there for you. So the breakdown, though, for us is going to be almost our breakdown is the gross profit, expenses, and then this gives us, at the end of the day, well, at the end of the day, it's going to give us our NOI. And after you take off your debt, you have cash flow. So this is how it works. Expenses inside your income statement, not normally when you have, your debt servicing in place still. That's an extra expense. That's still expenses not on your profit income statements. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at this as well. Now, also another point too, that income statements in commercial real estate is going to look more like a T12. It's a P&L for a rolling 12-month period. So that's going to be what you're looking for. So for me, I'm looking at income statements and balance sheets. I'm looking at T12s more often than not anything else. And it gives you my EBITDA and so forth like that. So this is what I'm looking at now. Now, let's do a live breakdown on a deal that I looked at this morning. Obviously, I'm going to not use the address, so it's going to hit super easy for us. But here's the deal right here. So we can see that we have pro forma. So this is a projection. This is our T3. So it's only 3 months. And then you can also see they analyzed it. So they brought it for a whole year basis. And then we had 2023 actuals. So this is a red flag to me personally, because, well, what happened in 2024? Why are you showing me 2023? Did like the place burn down? Was it vacant? Was there big construction going on? What happened in that whole year that you're not showing me that number? Now, that being aside, though, this is just breaking down expenses and performers. We have a performer. So this is scheduled rent at market. This is $750. We have vacancy, which is 7%. I think a little less. It's a little low, honestly. Concessions, bad debt, net income is going to be a total of $671. Now, if you break down the extra fees, which are rubs, we have $25K for fee income, you have no laundry, you have rub sale for $25, rent for pet, only $500, kind of low and odd. And then other income, which I knew what that was, but hey, that's what we got. Now for annualized 2025, we have $603 to $100,000 difference, $134,000 difference. And on the same point, I'm going to get to assumptions next, but while I'm on this point, I want to let you make sure you understand that you should never, ever, ever trust performers from a broker that's not working with you. For us, I'm going to give you my assumptions, my performers, what I look at today. I'm going to stress test it and try to kill the deal, honestly, to make sure it's a safe investment for you and go below your buy box is my normal goal. But at the end of the day, you should still understand this for yourself through your own math, your own underwriting. Make sure it's a good investment. Again, this pro forma 2023 was $850 almost. This one, 2025, is $100K less. What happened there? And then you have our 2025 number, which is $600,000. This is a massive, massive change from all the 3 different strategies. Then we have our expenses strategies down below. So we have administration, we have our, this is per unit. So here's the performer breakdown for each one of these. Advertising, we have payroll, only 2K, which I think is pretty low for all the building. I mean, it's like you have some part living there. You have repairs and maintenance, which is pretty, high. So 2024, this is why we see such a big decrease down below for net operating income, NOI. More on that soon though. And then down here is a 15K. Management fee, that's good. Unless he's working on site, 30K. Forma, right now it's 45. I'm not sure why that would go down on Forma. It's starting to see be higher, unless there's more automations in place. Your utilities, about the same, that's good. Contract services, about the same, that's good. We have real estate taxes, about the same, also on par. Insurance, on par, about the same. And of course, up above, sometimes you even see them doing renters insurance as an extra income source, but not in this one. And then we have total expenses, 342, 409, and 460. So those saying with their pro forma, with their projections, that they can decrease the expenses about $100,000, minimum 60K from 2023. And they say they can probably increase the NOI by $130,000 to $250,000, which is a huge lift to NOI. Now, this is why it's so important to understand that, when I'm looking at these numbers here, I now know what the gross profit is, the expenses, NOI, and cash flow. Cash flow in real estate is going to be the debt servicing. So I'm going to say my loan amount on that property is $3 million. And I have to pay, let me say $180 a year on that property. What's the NOI for this? So it's $240. It's $220 NOI right now in place from last year. So let's say I pay $180. I make $40K a year. That is how I know my net free cash flow. So NOI is $220. My debt servicing is $180. That gives me $60K. So if it's $240, so $60K in cash flow. That's how you understand exactly the breakdown behind this. Now, assumptions are, again, massively important to understand because everybody's different. Your assumptions will be different based on what you do, what I do, what the broker does, what the seller does, and everybody else in between. Because assumptions, as it sounds, I'm assuming that this may happen. And it's so crucial to stress test everything you can when doing this. A lot of times you're looking at assumptions. It's really easy to inflate numbers, high numbers, and so forth. Again, a whole video up above that breaks down underwriting for you to give you more context there. I just think it's really important to know that your assumptions is a breakdown of your growth rates, is cost changes, it's market conditions, it's one-time events, you have CapEx, OpEx, you have all these strategies there. A performer is only as good as the assumption behind it. And when you're doing assumptions, you want to think like an investor and be super conservative and stress test everything. Again, 2 people can do the same exact property, same exact asset, have 2 massively different numbers. So never just trust Formas VC. And then, of course, down below, the risk part of this, number 6, is that when you're looking at risk, you want to make sure, again, you're banking on all worst case scenarios. I'm going to look at not just the T12 and see my income statements and see my P&Ls. I want to see the bank statements and financial reports that we've had in the past 2-3 years on that same property. Because that tells me a really clear picture of what to expect. Am I looking at this property that had a huge dip in December? What happened? It happened 2 years in a row? Okay, that's a huge red flag. How can we prevent that? If I'm looking at a performer that is this year And I say last year was a huge surge in the marketplace and was really, really good and prosperous, that also made a huge difference on my current returns. Because right now I'm going to decline in the marketplace. This helps me a lot. So understanding market cycles is so important as well. Again, there's 4 main market cycles that you can look at in real estate. And I want to know which one am I in right now, where are we going next, and how that affects us as well for risk mitigation. And of course, you have deferred maintenance. You have new competitors. What is new place opens up next door? It's the same kind of building as yours or some kind of asset as yours. And now you have a huge, hit on competition and price gouging. So risk is a big part of this whole strategy. And of course, the pro forma, it's all assumptions. That's all it is. It's projections in the future. That is the biggest risk in itself, is assuming that it goes right. And I'm a huge fan of Sam Zell or William Yeckendorf, and they're so big advocates on decreasing your risk as much as possible. How can you plan for the worst, have a little amount of variables as possible, and then use that as your projections? So in plain English here, if I'm looking at my pro forma, I'm looking at my projections on a super conservative level. I'm breaking down my risk as high as I can, worst case scenario. I'm using those numbers now. And I'll say to my clients, to you, hopefully, watching this, say, hey, this is what I have right now. This is my projection. I think this is worst case scenario. With that being said, this is probably a fair price to invest in based on all the different avenues and things we have found. And then of course, when do you do projections and when do you do pro formas? You do them obviously whenever you see a profit you like. So after it passes the first check for me of actually looking at the true income statements and the T12s and balance sheets, I say, great, based on all this stuff that I've found on this document, this looks like a solid transaction. Let's now stress test it. Let's include all AI, let's include all spreadsheets, and actually start breaking down the whole entire thesis into actual real stress tests from assumptions, what can you expect, worst case, best case, and of course also a middle ground. And this gives us a really clear picture of what to expect with pro formas as easy as possible in 7 different steps. I hope this is good for you guys and gals. If you liked this, make sure you smack the like button, tag your friends, use the share, and of course you need extra help and support over here. A whole video that breaks down A to Z for you, all things investing. Literally how to start, find deals, underwrite deals, everything. It's a complete crash course and a whole playlist for you as well, down below for you too. And of course, as always, you need extra help and support. More of this videos, more of this courses for free for you. Down below, call me directly. I can help you save at least 5 to 6 figures in your next investment. We source the deals for you. We do the underwriting. We walk the grounds. We do the whole 9 yards for you, giving you the white glove experience to make sure you have the best investment moving forward. And our team, again, done $1.6 billion in transactions over the past 2 years. I've seen it all. So I'm happy to help you in that regards as well. Again, no obligations and no strings attached. And of course, thanks for watching. For the best I get, I'll see you at the top. Thanks for being here.